many other modes of movement and dance and fitness for 30 years. And one of the biggest parts of the development of Kai is brain awareness. I call it the mothership of Kai. And then the concepts that are the first layer, the foundational concepts of Kai, were all developed from brain awareness. I became interested in the brain after my dad passed away many, many years ago now. It's been over 20 years. Um, and as he passed away from a brain tumor, it gave me an opportunity in the hardest of times to learn how the brain works. And what I found through watching and helping him as he transitioned was that our brain, the latest research, is that the brain continues to build maps, neural maps. And it all depends on what we expose ourselves to and how we respond. And that the more diversity in our experiences, the more neural webbing, the more resiliency we have in our brain, but also in our body as we age. So, specifically to times that are happening right now during the coronavirus, I'm really interested in noticing how all of us, or how our behaviors, we're getting an opportunity to change behaviors. And I know that it's a shocking time, and I know that it's change is always a little, gets us into alert. You know, we have to be very alert, and there's some dangerous things. We have to change our behavior around each other. And there's a very dangerous virus that's going around. So there's a higher level of fear. So it's really important during this time to take care of how are you handling that fear? You know, what do we do when we start to feel depression, anxiety, um, lots of negativity, or things that can happen when we get into fear mode, which is the brainstem. And what they're finding, that the most recent research is that cardiovascular exercise is one of the most transformative things, cardiovascular specifically, to the brain, more so than anything else. So I was looking on the dana.org site. That's a website of European neuroscientists, as well as some on this coast in the United States as well, where they study the latest research on brain, and they have a very strong embracing of the arts in general. So there's the latest research by Dr. Wendy Suzuki, who's a neuroscientist at New York University, and she's been studying the brain and exercise in the brain for many years. That's her specialty, especially how exercise, cardiovascular exercise, helps learning, it helps memory, it helps having higher cognitive abilities in the brain. It's absolutely linked to it. So she was saying how even in one session of something cardiovascular, and it doesn't have to be like high intense activity. In fact, there's some question over that higher intensity activity that, um, change this, that at the higher levels, there could actually be some stress hormones released in the body, which have a negative effect. So what is best is at the low to medium range of getting the heart rate in a target zone. The lower the range over a longer sustained time makes a bigger difference in the chemicals that are released in the body. And those chemicals, once they're released, even in one session, there's studies prove that there's an increase in improving your mood, in handling decreased anxiety and depression, and in having more positive energy and more focus with our mind. And right now, with all of the technology available to us, that it's our way of connecting, um, I think that it's super, super important to notice what are we doing in addition to it, so that we don't get more down. Because the more we're on a screen, there can be a lot of other things linked to depression and to anxiety from relating through technology and taking the posture with our body of looking down at our phones or our equipment. So really important to bring in times that we're not looking at a screen. She was also saying that how, you know, we're all in our homes right now, and there is so many things in our homes that we can look at as tools to do for working out. I did a chair workout the other day and videoed that. You can join my private site on Facebook and get a video every day that's in length of from 5 minutes to an hour of either a dance Kai workout, or it could be a chair or yoga or Pilates, um, some different modalities that I've taught through the years. You get one every day. And there's also from the website at kaimoves.com, you can buy the individual videos if you would like to just do a Kai dance. So far, since this quarantine, I've created two. One is called Grace and one is called Sacred Spirit Kai, and they're both really beautiful movement that feels good in your body and includes understanding how we move our body. Heart starts to retrain how we move our brain, how we build our neural maps. She also had these really great ideas like looking at those things in your home that you always want to get to but maybe never do. So dusting way up high, getting into the corners, getting underneath your couch, underneath the furniture, and then putting on music and making some of these activities that we either do mindlessly, making them more mindful, but also making them more fun, and that is movement, that is cardiovascular, that can make you sweat if you set that intention around it and actually do it. You also, of course, can do a lot of movements using your body weight and gravity to strengthen your body, as well as things like cans. And if you just experiment with what you've got around you, everything has weight and you can play with that. I've got some earphones here. Let's see if you can see them. Even these are like probably 2 pounds, and lifting them up strengthens the shoulders. So we just have to get more creative and use our eyes, look around and play a little bit, be a little more like a child and wonder. The other thing is there's so many of us out there who are offering videos a lot for free on YouTube. And also when you're supporting some of your favorite teachers or someone who inspires you, you're helping them. So there's a lot of feels good um, chemicals released in our brain and in knowing that we're helping to keep others supported during these times. So if you have the means and you're able to support, that's very much helpful. What else? One of the tips that stood out, she said, is if you Google your favorite types of exercise, whether that's weightlifting or you might like dance. If you just Google that, you'll come up with all different kinds, and it's such a nice time to try some different things. She mentioned that if you're at home and you're with elderly or you are a person who's a little bit older, to look at what can your body do, like what parts do move and how can you monopolize on that and work within the range that you can with comfort. So there are times it's not our time to push the body, but some movement and making it rhythmic, even if it's just hands, wrist, and head, and allowing yourself to think of dance as not a performance or something you have to acquire great skill to do. It is what you are. Your cells are dancing, your DNA is dancing. You're dancing with those who are in your home environment, who live around you. It's just what we are when we're connected to our basic nature. And if you look at it that way, every way that you can move and find more comfort, you're starting to rewire your brain into potentials of moving with more ease, as well as getting out of some of those pain loops in the brain cycle, as well as depression and anxiety and emotional centers, getting out of those loops and wiring your brain up to seek out more resiliency and more possibilities of ways that you can move. It's just really good for the body and the brain to get out of the ego that wants to say it's got to look a certain way, or it's got to tell me that I'm reaching a certain heart rate in a certain period of time. We can look at it more like something that we do all day long, and at some points maybe increasing to get the heart rate up some. What else? I want to share that. So the chemistry of what happens when we're doing cardiovascular is that we are releasing chemicals in our body, endorphins in the brain, neurotransmitters that help to combat the stress chemicals in the body. So we're actually creating a chemical change. We're also increasing the oxygenated blood flow through our body, and that makes the chemicals move through the body in a better way. So we start to clear out what the stresses chemicals do, and we start to increase what feels good. And the brain gets this, it's almost like a bath. It gets to soak in the feels good sensations, and then the brain is wiring in those new neural maps all at the same time. So one time can make you feel better. But if you do this on a regular basis, you stop having so many dips down, and your sense of well-being, your ability to focus, your ability to think with the outer cortices of the brain becomes more consistent. You start having more clarity over time on the regular. So you create these neural maps through what you do. And the hippocampus part of the brain, which is right nestled above the brainstem and below the limbic, behind the eyes. It's very much related to memory. This is the part of the brain that deteriorates fastest as we age. And this is also the part of the brain that plumps up and gets nice and fat every time we exercise cardiovascular. It gets a little more puffy and a little more larger. It actually grows in size. So we want that to grow, since that's something that's going to decrease with age. We want to counteract that by getting it nice and fluffy. And that happens with repetition. So doing it on the regular is really important, like every day. Dance every day. Put on some music, find your movement flow, look what feels good in the moment, even if you don't feel like moving at first, set it up, make the intention, and then start to do it and see how it can shift so much in the brain and in the body. So when we exercise, we're creating new brain cells that actually increase the memory. And they've done some studies comparing strength training to cardio. And what they found is that the strength training studies are not consistent and haven't been studied as much. But the more proof and evidence is in the cardiovascular. And they're saying to do both. And usually, if you look online, most of the workouts, you do both. In dance and Kai, we use our body weight and gravity for the last 15 minutes, and we strengthen the core muscles, which are those deepest inside ones. So they're the functional muscles that give you a better posture, open up so you breathe better. They're not the bigger external muscles that you shape so that you look good from the ego side. Even though everybody that I know that has been doing Kai has changed the shape of their body and really loves it, but it hasn't been the intention. The intention has been more about the brain and about feeling good and choosing joy and connecting to community. The offset of that is that you also change the shape of your body. They've also noticed that, done studies around meditation and yoga, and they know for a fact that when we focus on our breath, when we're under stress and we focus on our breath, we start to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which makes us feel better, makes us feel calmer, brings us to a sense of peace. And this ability to focus on the breath is meditation, and it does shift the body and the mind. So the scientists are saying, so do both. Give your brain the bath and the gifts of the hippocampus getting plumped up, and then end it with some meditation or yoga, so that you also set the parasympathetic system in that deep, deep calm that is so good, also releasing some of the stress and opening up your body to that bathing feeling of joy. So that's all I have for you. That's a lot of stuff in how many minutes? Oops, my camera went off. Oh, come back. I think you can see me. Okay. I'm going to start to do some of these live feeds on the regular, I think, and share some brain science in particular. So stay tuned. Share with me some feedback if you can hear me and see me, and if any of this resonated, I'd love to chat. I hope you're having a good day, staying safe and healthy, and getting cardio dance in. And join me and Kai on the Facebook group page, or buy some videos if you like, or just send me a note if you want to connect. I do private sessions also from distance, and they really, really, really work. All right. See ya.